Hey guys, Cat Kom here with Studio Sweat On Demand, and I have a very special guest with me. SSoD Trainer Monica is here today.
Hi everybody, good to see you.
Hey Monica, I thought it would be great to give everybody an update on what's been going on with you and a little bit of history, of course, to start so that they know why we're looking for an update. So you ready to share?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I actually just realized it today. I don't think that I ever talked to you guys about how I figured out that I had MS in the first place. And if you take my courses, you always hear me comparing your speed or your resistance or your pace with running. Well, I used to be an avid runner. I loved to run. And that's actually how I figured out that something was wrong, was because when I was running, my feet would actually click together and I could never feel quite right. And I actually thought I had a pinched nerve.
Wow.
And so when I went to my doctor and the neurologist, they said, you know what, we need to do more testing.
More than a pinched nerve going on.
It was more than a pinched
Yeah.
nerve. And so that's when I figured out what happened. I tried to switch over to an elliptical and that wouldn't work because my feet wouldn't stay on. So when I had the pleasure to get on a bike for the first time, and you know, even on tennis shoes, when we're learning, your feet get strapped down. And that's when I found my love for the bike.
Yep.
I could go as
You're
fast
like, lock
as I
those
want.
puppies down.
Yes, and I still got to deal with the rhythm, and that's what I loved about running, was the rhythm. You hear your feet hit the ground.
Yeah,
well, on the
I do love
bike,
that, yeah.
just like you follow that beat and you get to feel that, you know, and I got to do that with the bike, and I got to go as hard as I wanted, as fast as I wanted. And my worst case scenario is I had to stay on for an extra minute before I could get off the bike to get my heart rate back down, to make sure I kept my stability.
Your sea legs, you get your sea legs back before you got off and like cracked your head. Yeah? So,
exactly.
Okay. So Monica, how long ago did you find out that you have multiple sclerosis?
I was actually 32, so it was 2012.
Okay. So 9 years ago. So
exactly.
How has your life changed?
So it's been little things where, you know, I like to be able to blame the MS sometimes for certain things, but certain times it is what it is, and I have to fall back to having that disability or know that it's there. But you know, I think it's more about being open. For the first 3 years, I never wanted to tell anybody.
Yeah.
And so it was
I think that's pretty common.
Yeah. So I was very secretive about it. And once I met my husband, and I was with him for a year, and he obviously knew the whole time because he had to deal with the little stuff that comes along with having that I learned that it was okay. Yeah. And that we have to go on with certain disabilities, right? Yep. Just like anybody does. And I wasn't special. I had something that I had to deal with, just like so many other people do. And everybody learns how to adjust. So I was no different. I needed to figure it out. And
you've always had such a good, inspiring attitude about it, and not ever, you know, claimed or yourself as a victim. You know what I mean?
I tried not to. Yeah.
You don't. You really. I'm sure that you have days. We all have days.
Yeah.
We put ourselves in that role. But so, what are some of the struggles that you've dealt with?
So the balance thing is something that happens all the time. You know, I just don't have a lot of grace, which I think it happens with a lot of some girls. But look at you, you're like straight out of the 50s. She is Miss Grace. But no, I know what you mean. Okay. Yeah, but that's about it. You know, I have to be really careful in this cold weather. Something about MS is that either very warm weather or very cold weather can get to you. So, you know, if it's too cold outside, I know I can only go outside, take the trash out, and then come right back in. And I might bump into something on the way back in, you know, but other than that, it's, you know, the day by day, it's little struggles here and there with my numbness, you know, in my feet, and that's pretty much the only permanent place I have it. I am so lucky. I went through a lot of education classes about all the medications that are available for MS, and every time I walked into those rooms, and I think that contributes to me being so positive, is because every time I walked into those rooms, I was always the youngest one there. And I was always lucky enough not to be in a wheelchair, not using a walker or a cane. And that is also what really made me learn, though, is to appreciate what we are capable of doing.
That's awesome.
And
inspiring, right?
I love it. Yeah. I love being with our group, you know, listening to, even if it's somebody else having a hard day, having somebody to share that with. Yeah. We're such a family here. Yeah, and true. Even when I'm here to work out, you know, everybody here, it's the same faces, and everybody's so accepting, and I appreciate that. I love it.
Supportive, yeah, too. It's such a great environment. So, Anything happen in the last few months that you might be interested in sharing with the group?
I definitely would be happy to share. I think everybody can understand what we've all been going through with this lockdown, and with us wanting to be as respectful and as safe as possible with everybody, and things just happen. Unfortunately, my husband and I were both infected with COVID, and we had a rough couple of weeks, and we took the precautions that we needed to. For a week it was hard, and because I do have a compromised immune system, it did get to me a little bit more, but it's not that I was any more sicker than anybody else, but that my regular MS symptoms, they flare up.
Oh, is that what happened?
So I had more numbness in my feet. I actually felt it in my hands. But it's not that the flu symptoms were any worse. I still had a sore throat and a stuffy nose and a fever, just like everybody else did.
That's really enlightening. That's really good to know. And my guess is that would be the same for a lot of issues, including, of course, those that have respiratory issues. It's going to be really, really hard for them. So that's interesting to hear how it impacted you.
Absolutely. So we still had to be very respectful for anybody else who got sick, and be super cautious to make sure that we were respectful, But I felt so bad because I didn't know for a couple of days. I thought I was just having a couple bad MS days, and then all of a sudden I'm like,
no, there's more to it.
There's a little bit more to it.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting. And I mean, I saw like the look on your face, like almost like you feel bad that you got COVID. I mean, you shouldn't feel bad. You didn't do anything wrong. I know what you were, I know you were being careful, and so it just happened. So, I mean, don't feel bad about that. And I'm glad that you can share your story and how you made it through it.
Thank you.
As always, be an inspiration to all those out there that have disabilities and those that don't. So, all right, anything else you'd like to share as far as an update before we sign off?
No, that's about everything, but I always, you hear me all the time expressing my appreciation. I really enjoy being part of this family. You guys make me feel better. I cannot tell you, these are the highlights of my weeks and my months, and listening to your comments, and you guys encourage each other to be a part of that and know I can turn to you. That's really great, and I appreciate it.
I want to give her a big hug right now. I can't wait until we can hug again. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Monica, thank you for joining us and giving us an update. And for those body sculpting, fat torching workouts, including those that are led by Miss Monica here, make sure you check out Studio Sweat On Demand.